All eyes are now on the Ukraine. That's amid reports of an impending Russian invasion, and it comes as the country declares its official day of unity amid the worst East-West tensions since the Cold War. Newshub Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer is in the Ukrainian capital of Kiev and joins us now. Lisette, thanks for joining us. You've travelled there, obviously, overnight. What is the mood there? How are people feeling?
Well, it's a really strange environment to walk into, really, because you come in here with a lot of anticipation and a lot of expectation because you've seen all the headlines, you've read all the warnings, and you know how serious the risk is. But people here are really living their lives as normal. You look around and can see kind of rush hour traffic down there. Town seems like normal, but the weird thing about Ukraine, I guess, is that their normal is to prepare for the worst, and it's not until you start to have conversations with people that you realise the extent of that. People are saying, oh no, we're not too worried, but then in the same breath they'll mention that they've got a grab bag and body armour ready if it is needed. When we arrived, we went through immigration, and the immigration officer kind of made a joke and said, oh, what are you covering? As if it was quite a laugh, which is quite confronting when you're walking into a situation like this, knowing what is at stake. But certainly I think people are just trying to be defiant in the face of what is immense fear, really. The warnings are frightening, and people here are just trying to, show that they are strong and show they are united. Are
there still plenty of flights coming in and out? Was the airport busy, or does it feel like actually people are starting to leave?
Well, certainly commercial flights are starting to dribble down. There is nowhere near as many as there were even just a few days ago. Our flight was relatively empty. There were still a lot of families on board, but they all were, from what I could tell and from what I saw at the airport, Ukrainians. So people that were returning home, perhaps people that are more used to operating in this state of play. They're more familiar with it, so for them they're just going home rather than the usual tourists or visitors that would usually be on those flights. But certainly we had an email from our own flight provider today just warning that our return flight might be compromised and that we're just to keep across the updates. So certainly the flights are in the process of and being affected.
Now, Russia says that they are actually withdrawing troops from that border region. Can they be trusted?
Yeah, big news today that Russia came out and said we are withdrawing some of our troops. Now, remember, they have maintained the entire time that these 130,000 troops that are amassed around three sides of Ukraine are just on a military training exercise. So today they said, some of our troops have actually finished that training exercise and they're packing up and turning away. Now, that sounds like good news, but very quickly people were sceptical. So the likes of the US, the UK, Ukraine itself and NATO have all come out and said they've seen no evidence today in the hours after that news that there has been any de-escalation. In fact, Boris Johnson came out and said that their intelligence that was received after that announcement showed that Russia was actually putting up field hospitals on the border. So that suggests quite the opposite to the message they're trying to put out, that this is just a military exercise and they're packing up and a lot of people are just going back to home base.
In the meantime, the German chancellor has been meeting with President Putin. Has anything come out of that meeting so far?
Sadly not. It is the same old story every day, really. These diplomatic talks continue one after another. The world leaders are showing up to have a conversation with Putin. Today, as you say, the German chancellor showed up, sat at that incredibly big table that Putin insists on because these world leaders aren't taking COVID tests before they arrive, and the rumour is that Putin is incredibly paranoid about catching the virus himself. They sat at this table, the same old story, sat there for around an hour face to face, talked about what the solution could be, came out afterwards, said they both want a peaceful solution, but neither side had made any breakthrough on what they were willing to compromise on. So another day, more diplomatic talks that have come and gone, really, and more hope that perhaps there is a chance that they can resolve this peacefully, but certainly a lot of doubt that it can be possible.
Lisette Raymer, Newshub Europe correspondent, joining us live from Kiev this morning. Thanks very much.